Hello everyone and welcome to today's map test tournament. It's going to be a relatively short stream today. We are going to be looking at Charmander. Now the tournament for Charmander was literally all PvPs, so what we're going to do is we're going to watch the three best ones, which were the final, and we'll go through the map again like we have done before. So let's have a look at the map. Let's bring it up here. So basically what we're looking at here is a relatively standard three-player map, although there is a very interesting kind of mineral-only third that's nestled into your base. Now looking at the map image for this, I've not quite figured out how it works, so I'm going to have to look at this in-game as well to kind of figure it out with you guys. But it is very... it's kind of Ground Zero-y, kind of Fighting Spirit-y, and in the way it works. There's bridges that go into the middle, there's some ramps in the middle that kind of force armies to split up a little bit. There is of course the big open center, which has got the Charmander on, as you can see there, which is where the name comes from for the map. This map was made by Minerals. It's been a... well, from the games that we got from the replays, like a lot of them were quite short, but it is a PvP. So that's going to be the case. How many teams are there at the moment? For Season 4 there's 10 teams, and that's what we've capped at. Just because that gives us a nice round number. And it's also 10 teams I know we can trust. So there's a backdoor mineral only and a neutral building is blocking it. Okay. There's a double ramp into the main base. I didn't notice that. Oh, I see it. It's really hard to see on the map image with Ashworld, but yeah, we're going to have a look basically at the mapping game as well, just so we can kind of have a better look. Yeah, I can see there's ramps now. That's actually really cool. Let's head into the game screen and let's have a look. We've got the replay paused in a minute anyway. What we'll do is we'll have a look at the replay, then we'll have a look at this, and then we'll go from there. Oh my god, I cannot remember at all how to use the UI. I also don't have any sound playing. There we go. Okay, so this is one of our main bases. Now there was some mining bugs on this map, which was one of the problems that was brought up on why we have these map test tournaments. It was caused by, I think, these trees. They caused some of the minerals to bug out. There's one here. This one I can't click. Wait, am I even clicking on this tree? Or no, that's the mineral. But I think these trees cause some problems in some of the spawns. So that may come up in some of the games. But I mean, this one wouldn't cause a problem as far as I'm aware. I think it's the one closer to the minerals. But as you can see, you do have that Protoss Temple blocking the mineral only, which it actually has quite a decent amount of space. Now, is this a droppable area? It's not the trees bugging it, it's faulty testing, okay. Oh well, I mean, the amount of work you've put into the map, like, it's kind of crazy that you put so much effort in to begin with. It's, to be sure you're going to miss something. Hopefully it's been fixed now though. I like how you've got the NORAD 2 here, it's nice. It's droppable behind the mineral only, okay, that's kind of cool. So, wait, I'm going to have to look at this at the top. So, so this isn't... I thought this was like a cliff, but it's not, is it? You can just drop here, and then you can maybe block it with some units, have a tank back up here or something, shelling the minerals. But I think the most interesting thing about this is it's got a relatively small choke for the natural. Now, this does make it a little bit easier for Protoss to wall in, but the other important thing is because you have these two ramps, all of which sort of go back into your main, it's very, very important to be able to wall this off, so that's why that's a smaller choke, I imagine. This map was tested and everything with Freakling as well, so I think it's going to be a good one. I really like the art you've put in the middle. I think that maybe the one thing that could cause a few problems, but it's one of the things that's good about this map, is for certain armies, like especially Terran, I think they're going to have a lot of trouble pushing through the middle just because it is so wide open. But that's a good thing. You need more maps like that. There's not many maps with a wide open center. I mean, one of the major ones I think of is Central Plains, and that was like a Protoss haven, but I don't think this map is going to have that same problem. I think you've done a really, really good job on the art on this map as well. I think it looks really, really nice. But let's get into the game, just if I can remember all the hotkeys, because I cannot remember how to cast, because it's been way too long. Yeah, you can push through the sides of the map as well. That's what I mean. Central Plains didn't have that, and that was what the problem was. No one could beat Protoss on Central Plains. If I remember rightly, I'm going to look this up quickly, but I'm fairly certain there was about 120 PvPs on that map during its time in Pro League. Let me find out. Sorry, it wasn't 120. That's way too many. It was 27. But overall, there was 28, 32, 33. There was only 35 games played, and 27 of them were PvPs. Like, pretty much every single game on that map was a PvP. Now, okay, starting us off here in the top right-hand corner is going to be Fisheye in the yellow for red. And his opponent down here in the bottom left is going to be in the blue. Still don't know how to say his name properly. I think it's Aeternum. Fighting for Rev. Yeah, so you'll notice that this mineral, for some reason, it goes behind to mine it. But that's what we had the map test tournaments for. This is not the old school Fisheye. He is another German called Fisheye though. I need to get better at my clicking again on the minimap. Like, look at this, I want to center it so you can see it more. Now this is actually, I really like this effect. Like, it doesn't, so at the bottom it looks a bit weird, but I think at the top it looks really, really nice. It's so weird because now Freakling has told me how the map textures work. I can see the squares now. Like, I swear before I never used to be able to see the squares. Yeah, both players are just going to be scouting them out. This is the finals of this tournament. I'm skipping the other PvPs because there was a lot of them. There was a lot of really short ones where people just left because they had bug mains and stuff. It's not a big deal. It's not a huge problem, but it's what the test tournaments are for. Like, a lot of these maps are probably going to end up in the main tournament. And if there's any bugs that come up, the only people that can be blamed for not finding them before is the players for not playing on the maps. Like, there's been a few people within the teams playing the maps, which is good. There's also been like the 4 or 5 people that have signed up to pretty much every single one of these tournaments, but it's mostly been PvPs. So if there's any glaring balance issues, we're probably not going to know about them until we put it in the main tournament. So I guess we'll have to find out how it goes. Looks like we are going to get a probe kill here for Aeternum, which is good for him. His probe is going to be able to get into the base, scout the second gateway. Checking down here for something that isn't there, but does need to make sure to keep his probe alive. Yeah, the good thing is, if we do put any of the maps in the main season and they do turn out to be horrifically imbalanced, we can just take it out in the map pool midway. It's not a big deal. Pro League did that a few times, actually. Oh, but there's a lot of Zealots coming across the map here for Aeternum. Looks like Fisheye wants to use his micro to try and deal with this, but it is going to be quite difficult. 3 Zealots against just 1 Dragoon, and the Dragoon is trying to get into a defensive position here. Now, the trouble is, he's going to be able to block one of the ramps, but he's not going to be able to block the other one, and looks like the Dragoon is actually going to let the... he misclicked, I think, and going to let the Zealots into his main. Now, this Zealot did take quite a bit of damage. It looks like my my sensitivity on my mouse is way too high. That's better. Yeah, here we go. So we do have 3 Zealots in the main now against 2 Zealots and a Dragoon. If he can keep this Dragoon alive, he has done a very, very good job here, but does need to make sure to keep as much as possible. 1 probe does go down to the Zealots, does want to get a couple more. Gets a second one. Can he get the third? No, he can't. So overall, That really wasn't worth it. 3 zealots for just 2 probes does not seem the perfect play right now, but we do have 2 gateways for Aeternum, of course. He is blocking his 2 ramps here. But Fisheye is now going to be able to go on a counterattack, and this is when things get a little bit dangerous. But of course, Fisheye did get a second gateway later. His production is going to be a little bit stilted due to the fact he did lose those gas probes. He does have a lot of gas banked up at the moment, so maybe should take some of those off and put them back onto minerals. Because the supply is actually ahead for Fisheye, and that's due to those additional zealots. But he's going to have to look to try and balance his economy a little bit better. Having this much gas this early on in a PvP is really not going to help you. You want to be in a position to really start to look forward to trying to expand going into your tech. But for the tech buildings he actually needs more minerals at the moment than he does gas. So should definitely take some of those probes out if possible. Looks like we are going to have those 3 zealots, the 2 dragoons, another dragoon coming in behind. Looks like one is going to be lagging behind back at his base, but he's not going to be able to break this ramp. Even with the 2 ramps, now the interesting thing about the way this map works is if you take this area here, I think you can attack these units. Now, interestingly, Aeternum is going to let Fisheye up his ramp. Nice target firing so far. Is going to be able to take down one of those dragoons on both sides. But looks like he does have overwhelming numbers here, which is going to help him a lot in this engagement. Fisheye. Oh, Aeternum actually killing his own dragoon there by accident. A misclick. Could it be fatal here? 2 more dragoons coming up. Another 2 have spawned in defense, though. But looks like Aeternum has managed to hold on to this, so Fisheye is going to move back with 2 of his dragoons. He is going to save some of his units at the very least, but you'll notice that Fisheye is gathering a lot of minerals now. His gas is still super high as well, and that's with building 2 dragoons at a time and the support bay. Realistically, Fisheye should be looking at going for Observatory or something here. He needs to make something happen. Now, going immediately for a Reaver is going to be very important, but is he going to be able to hold on to his ramp? That is the problem. Ryan Metal asks, which one is my favorite Pokemon? My favorite Pokemon is Mr. Mime, and I don't care if anyone hates Mr. Mime, he's the best. Mr. Mime is great. It looks like we do have overwhelming numbers for Aeternum here, but he is going to be fighting low to high ground, but does get a good couple of shots off, but a lot of missed shots from the low ground here. Really going to be helping out Fisheye. Looks like we are going to have 3 versus 2, 2 versus 2 now. What is the health looking like? Looks like it is going to be, oh, it's 2 versus 1 again. Another 2 dragoons coming in from behind here, but there is a Reaver coming in. Custom, you saying you almost forgot I'm a tournament organizer. Oh my god. Admittedly, I don't do as much as I used to. And I think, well, A, because the main season hasn't started, and also B, because I've just burnt out, I think. Like, there's so much, like, I've been tournament organizing for like 3-4 years in a row, all the time. And I think I've just hit the point where I just don't know what to do. Like, I always, for season 1, 2, and 3 of STPL, I'd always come out with this new overlay. It looked really good. And, well, at least I think it looked really good, and people seem to like it. And I've just run out of ideas. Like, I just don't know what to do. Like, what I'm working on at the minute is some of the stuff. So the overlays for the in-game stuff, and obviously it's going to have the Season 4 logo and stuff on there. But basically the stuff in-game is going to basically be the same, and the stuff outside the game is going to basically be the same. Not even different colors. I like the color scheme. I'm not going to bother changing it. At least not this season. But what I am going to do is I'm making more stuff to kind of add flourish to like the bits outside of the game. The only problem I've got is I don't have anything for like breaks still. I need to make an intro for season 4. I think season 4 the intro will be pretty similar. But I'm kind of struggling at the minute. There's something I want to do, and I just don't know how to go about doing it. So I've just got to get used to it. Looks like we do have the expansion coming up for Fisheye a little bit sooner. He did manage to get that perfect defense on. We do have an observatory and a support bay here for Aeternum as well. The shuttle is coming in. I think the Reaver is at the front of the base. Yep, there we go. Yeah, now Fisheye is slowly killing this temple. Now this does give him access to this mineral-only base, which is technically... It's technically a pocket expansion, even though there is a ramp outside your main base. But I love this ramp setup. I can't... Okay. I know, like, there's the whole thing that people call me the map man, and I kind of played it up a little bit. But after speaking to Freakling, I realized I know absolutely nothing about maps. But I'm fairly certain this kind of thing has never been done in any official map that I can think of. If anyone can think of one which had like a pocket base but had a ramp into it from the natural and then a double ramp into the main, let me know. I guess technically you could say Transistor, but I don't think that really counts. Tripod as well, although Tripod isn't really the same. I guess it kind of is, but Tripod is kind of different. But it does make me wonder how it's going to work out in different matchups. So here we go, looks like we are going to have an engagement. We do have 2 Reavers on... Oh, sorry, we actually only have 1 Reaver here for Aeternum. He is going to push forward with it. Reavers attacking from below can have a lot of trouble sometimes. Nice pickup there on that Reaver. He's going to go for... Oh, he gets a Reaver on... He gets a Scarab on the Reavers. That is definitely not something you want. Peaks of Bakedu doesn't technically count because that didn't have a pocket expansion. Paradise is possibly going to be... It's going to be probably on tomorrow or Friday. Basically, my Quest 2 is going to come either tomorrow or Wednesday. And when it comes, I'm not going to want to cast anything. So I'm going to I'm going to be on VR for like those... for that period, basically. Okay, it looks like we are going to have the Reaver coming into the main. The shuttle is almost dead, though. This is not good. Kaboom! The shuttle goes down. And Fisheye is going to take a pretty big lead here. Looks like we are going to have Aeternum pulling back with all of his Dragoons. There's only a single Reaver back at home. So that's definitely going to cause a few problems. Now, we do have 4 gateways coming up here, but we've got Fisheye already going up to 6 gateways. He's got a 3rd base coming in as well, and that is something that Aeternum has not even begun to think about just yet. But Fisheye is in a really, really good spot. If he wants to push, he can. We've got the Citadel up already. Zealot speed should be on the way fairly soon. Yep, he's going to start that up right now. Do we have shuttle speed coming in? That could be pretty good. You can't thank me for bringing new maps, given the fact I didn't make them. Oh wait, that's... Minerals made this. You made this map. You brought this into the scene. It's not me. I thought this was a Reaver drop that I'd missed, but it's just an observer sat in the back corner of his base. Okay. Okay, to be fair, I did cast a week and a half ago. Not this Saturday, the Saturday before. But yeah, when the proper season starts up again, I'm going to have to cast 3 days a week again. And I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to have to, but it's going to be hard, right? Wait, are these probes going to the wrong base? Or did he just transfer them? Big fan and kicks. I'm nothing like Big Fan. Kick Fan. But here we go. We do have Aeternum coming back in once again with a shot, and some Reavers. But this is 2 cannons. Not where you want to be attacking, but here we go. Looks like, oh, that's a big Scarab. Can he get another one? This will be a huge Scarab on the probes if it connects, and it does. A ton of probes coming down here, but looks like nope. Still no Reaver shuttle drop for Fisheye. Looks like the Reavers are just attacking the Nexus. Don't really want to be doing that. Does want to pull back. Got a good number of probes here, and that's actually going to put him in a good position to get ready to start to push. Now, Fisheye never went above 2 Reavers, despite the fact he's in a robo facility. Sorry, despite the fact he's in a defensive position. Now the shuttle Reaver at the front Gonna cause a few problems. The drop area is big, but it's fine. Oh, he gets one of the Reavers as well. This could actually be devastating. Oh, but Storm on the Reaver here. This is going to help a lot. Does get one of the Reavers. I'll go into the question in a second, but let's have a look at the end of the game, because it looks to me like Aeternum is going to push through. The Storm is done. There's no more Storm. There is a Reaver in this. No, there's no Reaver. He got the other Reaver. I didn't realize. There is another Storm, actually. It's going to do a ton of damage on these Dragoons. This is a ton of health to be losing here. This is 4 Templar, 5 Templar even, and there is another 2 additional Storms here. It looks like they're going to be trading fairly efficiently again, but obviously Fisheye with a huge deficit in probes, and these Templar, once they use their energy, they're not going to be doing too much, but this Storm is just doing so much damage. He's going to lose all of his army here, and now is this going to give Fisheye the option to springboard his way back across? Now, I did not know those were actually holes, so that is kind of cool. That limits army movement, forces armies to split up a little bit. Here's a look at the Charmander sprite again. Next time, make a Mr. Mime map. But looks like we do have some of the units back here. Need to get used to observing again as well. It's been so long since I've done any of this stuff, really, at least properly. I'm hoping when Season 4 starts up properly, I'll be ready. Because it's gonna be rough. We've got some really nice scouting going on by Aeternum as well, just checking for any form of shuttle drops. We do have a probe over here that I think was sent to go and take a 5th base. No, sorry, a 4th base. Oh, we do have a Reaver coming down into the natural again. It is a big drop area, but that's fine. The cannon is able to deal with this. Season 4 will start next month. I'm not sure on the date, but it will be next month at some point. But here we go. Looks like we're going to have Fisheye pushing in. There's not actually that much back here to defend. One of the Reavers out in the middle of the map. Not going to be helping out too much. It doesn't matter how many probes you kill if you're going to lose your main base. And that's exactly what's going to happen. GG. Aeternum taps out and Fisheye takes game number 1. Now, to go through the thing you were saying, or someone said before, do I prefer my time in VR over STPL? I mean, Lucky Noob said it right, and I shouldn't really answer that question, but recently, because I've not done both at the same time for a while, I will say I've been really enjoying my time in VR. I've made a lot of really good friends with people. I've spoken a lot of Japanese, which I haven't done in the last 9 years that I've been learning. It's been really good. I've had a lot of fun. I've met some really nice people. Doing STPL is fun, and I'm really glad I get to do it, and I'm looking forward to doing Season 4. But I am starting to burn out a little bit, and that's why I'm kind of glad there's been quite a big break for me, because it's given me time to recharge a bit, because for like 2.5 years in a row, I was casting basically 3 days a week, every single week, and it's... I mean, Zero, if he's still here, can probably agree to this, but basically it's tough. Like, I'm not doing anything hard, I'm just sitting, like, especially for me, like, I'm only casting about 2-3 hours a time, and Zero is sitting there for like 8 hours sometimes, but like, doing that all the time, it is hard. Like, it's really tough, because it's crazy. Like, Castamuse will know as well, because Castamuse is, like, Castamuse casts an insane amount. I don't know how you do it, man. I'm actually amazed at how often you cast and how much you do, and you do so much. Like, the Narak Star League looks really, really fun, so hopefully I'll be able to catch the VODs for that. Although I am working from home now, so maybe I'll be able to watch it, maybe I'll be able to watch it while it's live, which would be good. Yeah, Castamuse does have Caster in his nickname, so if he wasn't casting all the time, I think I'd be a little bit worried. He's not called Resting Muse. So yeah, so Fisheye got game number 1. Let's head into game number 2. Same map, of course. This is the... Whoa, I'm pressing all the wrong buttons here. Alt F is what I want. This is Charmander. Okay, we have no music. Now we do. Starting us off here in the top left hand corner in the blue once again. Gonna be a turnip. And then I have absolutely no idea what to call this color, so we are just gonna call it teal. Starting down here in the bottom left is fisheye. Yeah, my time in VR has been really fun. I literally just came out of VR. Well, okay, so today was a bit weird, because you ever get those days where basically you want to talk, but you just don't seem to have the energy to do it? And I know I'm talking now, but it's different. Like, when you're speaking a different language to your main language, like Costumuse probably knows this well, given how well he speaks English and how often he's using it online and stuff, but like, sometimes it can be really hard to just feel like you want to say anything. Even though I can, like, I just didn't have any energy. And today at work was fine. Like, I don't get it. So I just kind of stood around listening to people. I listened to my friends for a bit. I chimed up a little bit, but I didn't really talk as much as I have been recently. And that's fine. That's okay, it's not a big deal. Given the fact I've been practicing my Japanese like every day for like 4 or 5 hours a day for the last like 4 or 5 months. Yeah, I'd say I'm doing an okay job. I'm always fine unless I get a cough, yeah. That is fair. If I get ill, I just don't cast. It's not worth it. Ah yeah, here we go. There's that mineral field that's causing problems again. Apparently it's to do with the pathing. Freakling explained the pathing to me and I have absolutely no idea what he was saying. Minerals will know this more because he actually makes maps, but it's definitely very, very confusing. When he showed me how the pathing looks like, it's just like a load of lines. You can fix it with a pylon. Well, that's been done, that's good. But I'm guessing in like the final version it'll be fixed anyway. It looks like we do have both players scouting. Obviously Fisheye finds the opponent first. Eternum does get there last, which is kind of annoying, but it's not the end of the world in a PvP. Not to spoil the results, but there was a PvP in ASL the other day that genuinely I hope it makes people realize that PvP is actually a good matchup. Admittedly, there are a lot of times when PvP can be pretty boring, like Protoss versus Protoss, but sometimes it can be really, really, really good. Yeah, Costumese listening is really hard. I learned my Japanese listening from watching TV, essentially. And that made it a little bit easier for me because people in TV speak a little bit slower and they speak more pronounced when they're talking for the most part. But with English, like I know for example me, when I'm talking English I talk really fast. Yeah, that's where those crazy ads come from. That's Gaki Not Sky. That was from the the ones I've played so far were from the 2019 New Year's special they did. The other problem with learning English as well is there's so many different variations of English you have to listen to, because every European country that speaks English, like most of the time it's the second language of course, even America and England all speak English differently. They don't speak it the same. It's very, very confusing. And I'd say to people a lot in Japanese, like if I wasn't native to English, I don't think I'd be able to learn English. As an English person, I look at English and I'm like, I don't understand why this works this way. I just know it does because I've grown up with it my entire life. Like, I was trying to explain how to use a word to someone, and I just couldn't. I didn't know how to use the word. Like, I knew the word. I knew where it goes. But I couldn't explain how to put it in a sentence or the sort of context it's used in, which is so dumb. It's my native language. I should know this. But I just don't. I guess the thing is as well, when you're learning a language, most of the time you try and, or when you're learning from like a book or a website or whatever, or even a school, they teach you how to speak properly. And I just did air quotes, even though you can't see it. Basically, the problem with that is normal people who speak as that as their native language, they don't really speak properly. There's so many different nuances and different words. Oh, DT gonna get caught off guard here. That observer coming in clutch there. Sorry, I did what I've been told off for before. I went on a tangent and forgot about the game. But the DTs are not going to do anything here, which is going to give Aeternum a fairly big advantage. But we do have the DT expand, so it wasn't a complete all-in. He is going to be able to come back from this. But with Reavers coming out, as long as he doesn't fly his observer out, which he is, and the DT doesn't run straight into his base, he should be okay. And Aeternum, of course, is already 1-0 down, so he does need to make something work. Now, he is trying to break through, but there is going to be 3 cannons by the time he gets there. And these cannons will see that the observer is away from the main. Now, he is going to try and break anyway. This is a very risky proposition. These cannons do a lot of damage to the Dragoons. They do die very quickly, much like they do to Hydras as well. Look at this, only 2 rounds of shots, really, to take those down. But this DT in the middle of the map, if this flies into the... Oh, okay, it's not going to be able to make it. There's another observer. This DT would have been better back at home. But it looks like Aeternum is going to be able to push back and get a very quick second win here. It looks like we've got another 2 Dragoons coming in to help out this push. There are some probes transferring down here to the natural. Looks like that's a little bit of a weird pathing thing. I don't know if that's something that's been brought up before. We've got a Reaver coming along in a shot as well. Looks like Fisheye has completely forgotten about that DT, which is a little bit unfortunate, but when there's an observer ahead, there's not really too much you can do to the army. But this Nexus is going to go down, and likely with that, yep, Fisheye is going to tap out. GG. Fisheye taps out, and Aeternum takes the game 1-1. Yeah, so basically, what I was saying before is, like, when you speak to people who are speaking native, and I know this is the case for me from both sides, so I speak to native Japanese speakers now every single day, right? Because I've made a lot of Japanese friends, I talk to them, and I speak native English. If I think about how I speak English, I do not speak properly at all. There's so many weird things that I use that, like, other people around me use. Like, there's a lot of... Like, if I make a mistake in English, I do not care, because in my head, as a native speaker, if I'm speaking to if I speak to another native speaker, right? I mean, like, saying like all the time, and, like, I just did it again. But it's stuff like that. There's things, like, verbal tics in my native English that are wrong grammatically. So if I'm speaking to someone and I make, like, a mistake in English, I'm not going to care, because I know that other people know exactly what I mean. Whereas when I'm speaking another language, I've tried to care about this less. But when you're speaking something that isn't your first language with a native speaker, you are so... Well, at least I am very worried about making a mistake for some reason. You shouldn't be, and that's just my my anxiety being my anxiety, as it always is. But basically, you shouldn't ever worry about something like that, because they'll get what you mean anyway. Like, no one's judging you. But it's just like, you think about it a lot. Like, you think about what you're saying. You maybe overthink things you're saying when you're talking in a different language. But when you're speaking a native language, you don't care. Yeah, like you try and think more, like when you're talking, you're thinking about the rules of how to speak the language. Like, as a native person, you don't really think about it. Like, when you get more proficient and you don't care, like, I don't think I overthink my Japanese anymore. I'm shy anyway, so I don't talk too much. But, like, one of the funny things, like, the people I hang out with, they're like, oh, you're just gonna pick up a load of broken Japanese from us. And I'm like, I don't care, because that's how normal people talk. That's how I want to talk. I don't want to sound like I'm talking from a book, you know? That's just part of being, well, that's part of being near fluency. Like, some people have told me I'm fluent in Japanese. I don't feel like I am. But then when I compare myself to others, I'm probably a lot closer than most people are. So that feels pretty good. Now, we are going to get into the tiebreaker game of this series. Now, the winner of this tournament will receive $15, which is pretty good. We don't have, I know I've not really been talking too much about the actual game and I've been going on a tangent or whatever, but that's what the map test tournament's for. It's for me to get used to talking to people again. Thing is, I'm not constantly speaking 4 to 5 hours a day, but okay, so my listening comprehension is, so I did there's like the JLPT, which is the Japanese language proficiency test, which has 5 levels. There's N5, which is the lowest, N1, which is the highest. When I did the practice tests for N1, which is like business level, my listening, I got all of the questions right. The grammar, I got a few wrong on. I mean, there wasn't that many questions, so I shouldn't base anything off of this, because I've not really studied for that test, and I've not really done many practices. But I would say my listening is probably close to fluent. Like, in terms of listening, I think I kind of get what everyone's saying, and I can comprehend what they're saying as well. Grammar, there's still some grammar points I need to sort of study, like, a little bit more. And sort of speaking, I would say my speaking's the worst, but I'm getting better. But that's the thing, unless you practice, you're never going to be perfect. So let's get into game number 3. I'm going to stop talking about languages now, because you guys came to hear about Brood War and not languages. I'm definitely intermediate. I might be fluent. It's just I don't have confidence in myself, so it's hard to say that I'm fluent, because I mean, I can talk to people without really many problems, but yeah, it's just weird. Like, it's something that I kind of don't want to call myself fluent, but then it seems the more you know something, the more or the less likely you are to believe you know much about it at all. See, I could technically cast in Japanese, I think. I think I could. I'm not going to, because no one will understand what I'm saying. But I could probably try and record something and put it on YouTube at some point. Because that would be an interesting test. Because, like, I don't know. I'd probably need to think about it, because there are a lot of words that are used to cast a video game that I don't know what they are, just because the words don't exist in Japanese. So, like, I guess I'd be able to figure it out, but, like, yeah, it's not something I'd do right away. I can record other stuff in Japanese, so that's fine. Okay, let's get into game number 3. It's Fisheye versus Aeternum. The score's tied up 1-1, and we are going to be heading in to the final match. Okay, starting us off in the top left-hand position again, it is going to be in the grey, fighting for Rev. It's Aeternum. And spawning down here in the bottom left-hand corner, fighting for red, it's Fisheye. So as I mentioned before, the winner of this game will receive $15 of prize money. So there's quite a bit on the line. I guess that's at least a pizza. In the UK, that's basically a pizza. that's how it goes. Yeah, pizza in England is crazy expensive. If you want to buy pizza, don't come to England. For a large pizza, it's like £16 or something. That's more than $15. You can't even get a large pizza for $15 in the UK. In America, that's like possibly 2 large pizzas, or at least the equivalent of large size in the UK. I ordered Domino's when I went to BlizzCon, and I was surprised at how cheap it was and how big the pizza was that came. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Yeah, back to the game. So it is a PvP, which admittedly makes it hard to talk about the game, because PvP is one of those matchups where, as we can see here, there is gas core, gate gas coming in for both players. This means we're going to see some early Dragoons. Possibly some early tech. Both players going to scout each other second as well, which is better than scouting them third. Also, thanks to Minerals, today I learned there is a restaurant called Pizza Slut in the UK. Oh, in the US, what the hell? Oh, there was something really funny that happened the other day on VR chat, actually. Like, just while we're waiting for the tech to come in, basically a Japanese person taught me about a food market with street food in London that I had no idea existed. And then when I looked it up, it's been a thing for like 100 years. Oh, it's not actually called Pizza Slut. It's called... he's talking about Pizza Hut. God damn it. Minerals. Why? Why would you make me say that? Oh my god. To be honest, I thought genuinely it could be a name of a restaurant in America. Like, there's so many dodgy names of stuff in America that I just don't know. Yeah, like, there's been literally a food market with lots of really nice looking street food that I have never been to in my entire life, and it's in a place in London I've been to multiple times, and I've just never known about it. Well, you got that freeze peach in the US, so... So the core isn't actually coming... Oh, sorry, the core is already up. He's actually used it to make his gas mining a little bit more... As I said that, the probe bugged out. I don't think this has made it more efficient. I'm not 100% sure on this this core placement, but this is a test map, so, well, it's technically a test map in a test tournament. I was going to add the stats from the test map tournament onto the stats for the STPL, but given how every game was basically a PvP, it'll basically make it look like every map is only being used by Protoss players, and I don't really want to do that. I mean, there was a few TVPs as well. Yeah, so he did pull a probe from a gas. This means he's going to look to get a faster Nexus. Oh, he's actually checking for a proxy down here. Can you fit a proxy here? Looks like we are going to have that quicker second gateway coming in here for a turn, and we've got an obs coming in, so it's going to be 2-gate observatory before any form of Reaver shenanigans. Let's check this out. Can you build? You can't build here, can you? You definitely can't build here. Can you fit a building in here? Like, even just a turret or something would be interesting. I don't think so. I think this is unbuildable. No, it's not. It is buildable, yeah. Okay, so you can build a pylon or a turret or something like that, but you can't fit a Raxor gateway in there. That's fair enough. Or maybe a Robo. Protoss Imber? I see how it is. You're a Protoss player, so you add Protoss in the features, you know? That's why every game in this map tournament was a PvP. I think this actually was PvPs all the way through. Ryan Metal, who's in chat, did play in a couple of them, and he plays Terran. I think he played on Paradise and the latest one, which was Desert Dwellers, so we're going to see a lot of PvP on Desert Dwellers, which is good. TVP, sorry. We do have a much faster expansion here for Fisheye. Now the Observer gets there just to see the probes transferring. We do have the first Reaver out here in the middle of the map as well. Well, it's not in the middle of the map, it's in the middle of his base. Now Eternum is going to have to look to put a little bit of pressure on, but he doesn't really have the units or money to do so at the moment. He is trying to expand himself, and when you expand, you don't really want to be pushing at the same time because you have used a lot of those resources that could have been units. You've made them into basically something else, so you don't want to do that. Rhine Metal, you showed up and you played. That is not a shameful showing. You want to know the last time I actually played this game? Like, the last time I played a ladder game, which if I don't count the 5 I left at the beginning of to get the portrait at the beginning of the season, the last season, probably about 2, maybe 3-4 months ago. Like, I don't play this game as much as I should do. I spent so long casting that I just kind of... I didn't want to play it anymore. Because whenever I played, I just got frustrated. I wasn't better than I was. But looks like we are going to have a Reaver push coming in here. This is a very, very important moment in this game. Got to keep an eye on the shuttle health. But could this be another very quick win for Eternum? If it does, it means he's going to be taking down Fisheye in the final match. And it looks like he will. There's so many units here. There's a Reaver coming out, but there's absolutely nothing else to contest this. Oh, looks like we are going to have a Reaver attacking the Reaver, which is good, but this Reaver is going to go down very, very quickly. And I think this is going to be it. Looks like Eternum, I don't know too much about him, but he's going to come out here. And he's going to take down Fisheye, a very established Protoss player on red, in this final series. There we go, GG is called, Fisheye taps out, and Eternum, despite being on the bugged spawn as well with the minerals. Oh, sorry, that was Fisheye who was down there. Maybe ignore what I said, but I think this was bugged as well, because he built a big pylon wall. Yeah, but that's it. So Eternum's going to be taking home $15. He is going to have to send me his PayPal, so I can send that over to him. But I did mention that this was going to be a relatively short stream today. And yeah, there we go. So that is going to be it for me for today. Tune in. It's either going to be tomorrow or Wednesday, depending on when my Oculus Quest 2 turns up, because I want to play with that, because it's going to have a much better screen, and I want to test out the IPD, because my IPD, which is like your, I think it's called your interpupil distance, is like 71, no, I think it's 7 centimeters, so 70 millimeters, and the Quest 2 goes maximum of 68, but people are saying 68 is fine, so I'm going to have to test that out. Hopefully that'll be okay. If not, I've got a 30-day return policy with Oculus to send it back. So, and I've still got my original Quest, so that's fine. But either way, thank you very much for tuning in. And that is the Zerg shirt. I got it from BlizzCon, I think, or I bought it online, I can't remember. But it was the only StarCraft shirt they had, so I got it. Oh wait, no, I think someone bought it for me for Secret Santa one year. Either way, there was no Terran shirt, so it was Zerg all the way. It is, okay, it is a StarCraft 2 shirt, but that's fine. It's okay. StarCraft 2 is an okay game. I don't like it as much as StarCraft 1. I don't watch it because I don't like it, but it's still a good RTS game. The thing is, this is the problem that I think a lot of people forget. There isn't many RTS games, so the good ones you need to cherish, because there's not many of them. There really isn't many good RTS games. There's like the Command & Conquer series, of which probably maybe 6 of the games are good, You've got Red Alert 2, Tiberian Sun. I mean, the remaster was really good, so the remaster as well. 0 Hour. CNC 3 was okay. And Red Alert 3 was okay. But, like, CNC 4 was terrible. The original CNC, outside of the remaster, not very good. It's very, very imbalanced. And then outside of that, you have like a million CNC clones no one's ever heard of. And that's the RTS genre. Red Alert 2 is the best one. It's my favorite one anyway. Tiberian Sun as well. But either way, thank you for tuning in. I will see you guys when I see you next. It'll be Tuesday or Wednesday. Check out TL for the details. And yeah, obviously what Age of Empires, but that's different. That's also good. I like the original Age of Empires. Empire Earth, Dune, the original Dune is really good. Not that I've ever played it. Total Annihilation, Planetary Annihilation was really good. Subcom is good, but not as good as TA. Either way, I'll see you guys next time. Have a good day.